Okay, on our regular show, the MGB Wrestling Podcast, we have a competition called Are You Smarter Than a 4-Year-Old, where Jackson takes on all comers in either a quiz or a prediction. So, what comes next is our predictions from the boys for the Summer of George.
All right, Jackson. Match one. Barbi Hayden or Faye Jackson?
Faye Jackson.
I figured you were going to go with your namesake.
Faye Jackson.
All right, match two. Isaiah Frazier or Josh Fuller?
Dada.
You want the first one or the second one?
The first one.
Isaiah Frazier. Okay.
Isaiah Frazier.
All right, match three. Logan Easton Laroux or Marko Stunt?
Logan Easton Laroux.
Okay.
Marko Stunt.
Match four. Alexander James or Bobby Shields?
Bobby Shields. Bobby Shields.
Okay, number five. This is a tag team. Pop Culture or the Ugly Ducklings?
The Ugly Ducklings.
Well, I figured you were going to say that.
Ugly Ducklings.
Match six. Arik Royal or John Skylar? Arik or John?
Arik. Arik Royal.
Match seven. Terra Calloway or 5 other women?
5 for the women.
Okay.
Terra Calloway.
She challenged everybody. All right, match 8. Jordynne Grace or Shotzi Blackheart?
Donst.
Okay.
Shotzi Blackheart.
Match 9. Homicide or Yuta?
Dee.
For Homicide?
Homicide.
Okay.
Homicide.
Match 10 was the Hooligans or PME?
The Hooligans.
Okay.
PME.
Match 11, I think it's Dominic Garrini, and I think it's Kevin Koo. I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
Who do you want, Dominic or Kevin?
Oh, no.
Kevin.
Kevin Koo.
All right, another tag team match. Would you like the Carnies or the main attraction?
The Carnies.
The Carnies.
The main attraction.
And last one, Sage Phillips or Jonathan Gresham?
Sage Phillips.
Sage Phillips.
Jonathan Gresham.
All right, Mason, we're going to have to be professional on this. We're going to try to do this in one take. Okay, this is actually almost a week to the hour that I actually went to 2018, August 24th, Nova Pro Wrestling presents Summer of George in Annandale Volunteer Fire Department. Doors open at 7:30, and it was an 8 o'clock start. Now, normally we'd talk about what we did beforehand, but it's slightly different for this one. So I went to this one. I went by myself. I got caught in traffic, actually. You know how we always talk about being lucky?
Yeah.
I got caught in a little bit of traffic, and the doors were already open when I got there.
I guess I'm lucky.
So I got there, and I couldn't sit in my sort of normal seat right in the middle. I sat on the corner, which actually was okay, because I knew later, well, I'm going to spoil your bit here why you weren't there, but I thought I can watch from a different angle than what something else was. So when I got there, actually nobody was out on autographs at all. It was kind of weird. There were all the tables there, and because I normally looked at who can we get autographs from, and nobody was there at all. It was really strange. I guess it might have been because it was only like 10 minutes until it sort of started or whatever. Well, actually, no. I got there, it said 7:30. I think I got there about 7:25, but they already started letting a few people in. So it was still 30 minutes beforehand, but I didn't get anything.
Yeah.
All right, tell us about how you saw the matches then.
So I saw the matches on the TV, and I couldn't be at Nova Pro because I was the day before I came back home from Ohio, right?
Correct, yeah.
So I really wanted to come back a day early, but...
And you normally do. It was like every year you come back on a Friday, and then when I asked, because it was an important one, it's like, no, we're coming back on Saturday this year. But that was fine. I knew that they were recording it, so I knew that they were going to put out the episode a few days later. I think it came out finally on Tuesday night, but by the time we knew about this, you were already in bed. Wednesday you had baseball, so you caught up with it Thursday night, so we got to get this recorded now. Now, one advantage actually of doing this a little bit later is, normally on our next episode of MGB, we talk about things that we missed. So anything that came out within this last week, I've just been adding into the notes as we've been going along. So this one's probably going to be slightly more thorough. I think it might be kind of interesting as well, because I saw it live, you saw it on TV, so we might actually have some different observations. I know one match towards the end, there was 2 different things going on.
Yeah.
I was watching one side, and I was like, I wonder what's happening in the other side of the ring. Whereas on the TV, they kept cutting between. So we might actually get some different perspectives by doing it this way.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's have a look what I've got on here. It said this was being on Powerbomb TV. Yeah. Now, so match 1 was actually Faye Jackson versus Barbi Hayden. And I actually put, with this being on Powerbomb TV, often they have that pre-match where they have a couple of slightly lesser matches just to sort of get you warmed up before they get the ring. They're not messing around with this. Faye Jackson is a big star at Nova Pro.
Yeah.
So to put her out in match 1, I was surprised. I was really surprised, but I guess it made sense. All right, do you want to talk about this one?
So, first of all, I get Barbie Hayden and Penelope Ford mixed up, so please excuse me if I accidentally say Penelope Ford. So, Barbie Hayden, she's coming into the ring, and then she's yelling at the ref to hold the ropes for her, to push one down with his leg and the other one up.
She was being very bossy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because she's like Sasha Banks, who goes under the second rope.
Yep.
It's really weird how they do that.
Yep.
It's like they duck so low, but it looks like it's going to be a little bit of a stretch to go through the second rope. So.
And I'm trying to remember what I did when I was with Mick Foley, because we had to step actually into the ring, and I'd never stepped into a ring before. And I think I stepped over the second rope, and I think I did a duck down as well, or they might push the top rope down. I'm trying to remember, but I remember looking, I was like, how am I supposed to get in? It seems really easy, but it was like really confusing at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to make an idiot of myself, trip over the rope and fall over or something.
Be like the Great Khali, push the second rope down. And,
He's tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Braun
tall.
Strowman does that, and Big Show.
They can definitely do
Brock
that.
Lesnar, he jumps on the top of the apron.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kalisto, he has a trampoline, and he jumps on the trampoline and jumps over the third rope.
That looks pretty cool. They all definitely have some different ways of getting in.
And we went to the Fairfax house show.
Mhm.
We were on so we could see perfectly with the
We could see the ramp. We could see the entrance
but
ramp.
we couldn't see the trampoline, so we just thought he jumped over, and I was like, whoa!
I'm not sure he doesn't. I've never seen that trampoline, actually. I know Alan, my friend at work, says he has a trampoline. I've never seen that trampoline. I don't know. It must be,
He
sure.
doesn't really come in much.
There's no way you could jump that high, I'm sure. That would be too much, I would have thought. All right, so Barbie's in the ring. What else we got?
So Faye, she does a sunset flip from the outside. So she jumps off the third rope, and then Barbie, her back is there, so she rolls off her back, and then she gets her.
Oh, so you're already into the match. All right, you're already into the match. All right, let's back up a second. I probably should have said a couple of things before we started. Last appearances. Barbie's last appearance was a first-round loss on her debut to Angela Slane in the Commonwealth Cup, and I thought she was really impressive in that, so I was glad to see her back. And Faye was actually in Harlem Nights last month when she beat Madison Rain. Now, I was surprised on this one. So you talked about Barbie entering the ring, so I'm going to talk about Faye entering the ring. Now, I was surprised for this one. Buff Ref wasn't in this one.
Yeah.
Because normally, as Faye's in the ring, she does her little, okay, you're going to check me out, and the ref normally does. And it was a different ref. I was really surprised about that one. But he was in the second match. I don't know what happened there. They always do it so it's that way around. I also put that... Oh, actually, I'm not going to interrupt on this one. Go ahead. You can tell me the next part. So you said the sunset flip. What do you got for that after that?
And then... So I don't really have too much, but is Penelope... I mean...
It's a good job you gave that little warning at the start.
Okay, so
Barbie.
that is Penelope. Okay, I was thinking that she was teamed up with Brittany Blake last time.
And that was Penelope Ford.
Okay.
So that's the team Bad Behavior, who actually feature in one of the later matches. I think that was like match 9 or something like that. I didn't have much for this one either. Now, the one thing I will say about this was, I wasn't that impressed with this match, actually, when I was actually at Nova Pro. However, when you watched it again last night, and I rewatched it, I thought it was much better. So, I don't know if I was just sat at a weird angle or something, but yeah, I was not impressed with this. I didn't have a lot of good things to say, and when I watched it last night, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a much better match, so I don't know why that was.
I didn't like the second match.
Okay, well, we'll get to that one in a second. Now, actually, Barbie was actually featured in a dark match at the Mae Young Classic, the first one.
Oh, she was?
Yeah. There was a special match. It was Deonna Purrazzo, who obviously we know from Nova Pro as well, Jessica James, who I don't know, Barbie Hayden, and Nicole Matthews, who I think was supposed to be at last month's Nova Pro, and then she pulled out at the last minute, and I don't remember the reason why. So, yeah, Barbie's actually got some pedigree as well. She's been in some really big matches.
Yeah, and Faye Jackson was in Ring of Honor.
Yes, she was. Yep. All right, if that's it, let's move on to match 2 then. So, match 2 was Josh Fuller versus Isaiah Frazier. Last time, Josh Fuller beat Coach Gator at Harlem Nights, and Isaiah Frazier lost in a 6-way match to Bobby Shields, also at that same event. All right, have you got anything to start us off on this one?
So when Josh Fuller was getting announced, he said the guy was announcing him like 135 pounds, something like that. And then Josh fully yelled out 235 pounds.
There's no way he's 235.
And no.
Yeah, there's not a chance. 135, I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Talking about that number, actually, and I didn't add this into my notes, I saw Coach Gator actually put something out on Twitter the other day promoting himself to wrestling promoters. It's like, if you're looking for a 237-year-old wrestler, I'm your man. He's obviously not 237 either. I actually retweeted it and said, star, 237 years young. It just suddenly made me think about that one. I didn't add that into my notes. All right, what else you got?
That's all I had.
That was it?
I
Okay.
only have the ending, too.
Okay, well, I got a few things for this one. So after Josh enters, Coach came in, and Josh immediately says, please don't give him a mic. And he did give him a mic. And actually, this was the part you missed. Powerbomb TV, I don't know what the deal is with it. We normally watch it through my laptop, projected onto the TV, and like every 15 minutes it cuts out.
Yeah.
And I asked them about this, and they were basically like, it's your computer. Now, I had a problem with my computer last night, so we watched it on the phone and then projected that up to things. Same thing, right? It kept cutting out.
Yeah.
On the phone, you could not control where it was going to, and it kept resetting. So
yeah,
we missed a few minutes. I could get it within 2 or 3 minutes, and I was like, that's it. You're going to have to do it. So, yeah, you did miss parts of some of these matches, so you are going to have gaps.
Yeah.
Only 2 or 3 minutes for each one, but that could have been something important. And Coach actually talked about his loss. He said how doctors had to put parts back together I forgot I had. And Josh said, yeah, and you aren't using them. And Coach gave some sort of promo. It sounded like he was going to challenge The Rock. It sounded like it. So he was talking about an actor, and he was talking about... He didn't say the most electrifying person in sports entertainment. He used, like, the most vivid person in sports... Or something like that. And actually, it was David Arquette, who I don't think he recognizes necessarily as an actor. He was an actor, and he was the WCW champion in 2003, I want to say, somewhere around that time. It was a big story when I first came to America, because he actually got panned for it. Everyone hated him, because he's not a wrestler. But he's started to come back onto the scene again. I think he's filming a documentary, so Coach challenged him. I did actually ask a question on the Wrestling Perspectives podcast, because I knew they were interviewing David Arquette this week, and asking, does he know about Coach Gator's request? Can you give us any more details? And I guess they ran out of time, or they forgot the question, or they chose not to answer the question. So I don't know. I didn't find any more details out about that. As match starts, Josh celebrates one good move, and then Isaiah immediately recovers and beats up on Josh. Yeah, he gets one good move, and he's like dancing around like a champion. Isaiah Frazier just got stayed up and walloped him. The only other thing I really have for this one as well, I noticed a couple of things. I'm not very observant with clothing. I've talked about this before in the look. I did notice on Josh's pants it said, "We are the youth," which I'd never noticed before. And Isaiah Frazier said, "Long live the champ," which I'd never even noticed that before either.
I didn't know Isaiah's, but I recognized Josh's.
Oh, okay.
And on the back it says Josh Fuller.
Yeah, it says that.
Also, and he was announced as representing the Fuller house.
Correct, because that's his team with Max Butler.
Oh, I thought that was a kids' TV show.
There's a show called Full House.
Oh.
That's the deliberate pun on that. It's Full House, so they went with Fuller's House to recognise that. There was a great DDT by Josh, and Isaiah got up at 2. I thought the finish was fantastic.
Yes.
And I showed you the little clip of this because I started to film this on my camera because I was like, oh, they're going for a superplex right here. This is going to be great. They got the superplex. Both of their legs locked up together. And from what I saw, I thought Isaiah Frazier had pinned him. It looked like it was a 3 count then. And then afterwards, you saw there was some confusion from the ref. And actually, I looked back at on the Powerbomb TV to see both of their shoulders were down.
Yeah.
So it was counted as a draw. They both had a pin of 3. And I thought it was really good. Now, actually, Josh Fuller says that he actually lifted his shoulder up and broke the count of 3. I couldn't see that on Powerbomb TV. He did ask at VA Gent Mike if he was going to get a rematch, and basically he said no, as far as I can tell. Now, I was surprised by this. I tried looking up Isaiah Frazier on CageMatch.net because I wanted to find out a little bit more about him, because he's obviously really good. He fought Nick Aldis only a few months ago, who's going to be at All In this weekend. He doesn't even get mentioned. There's nothing where you can click on his name to find out more about him. I was really surprised about that. You fought somebody who's a big title match like that, and then you're not even there.
Yeah,
So
now I think of Nick Aldis as Magnus, because that was his impact.
yeah, it was. Yeah. All right, let's move on to match 3. Logan, Easton, Laroux, and Marko Stunt. I guess at the start I should have also said, when you came home that next day, I was like, do you want to know the results, or do you just want to wait and then watch them? And you said, I just want to know what they were. And one of the things I did talk about was this match. Marko Stunt, I was really excited for. I'd heard good things about him. So this is Logan, Easton, Laroux, and Marko Stunt.
He's funny.
He's good. All right, Logan lost to Wheeler Yuta at Harlem Nights, and this was actually Marko's debut. Do you have anything for the entrance? Or
Yes.
Go ahead.
So Marko Stunt, he's putting something down and then shakes his butt at Logan. And then he turns around
That's when he's inside the ring. Well, I guess it's before the match starts.
Well,
All right,
and then he says, "Logan, are you looking at my butt?" And then Logan says, "No." and then he says, "Everybody, Logan's looking at my butt."
Logan said at this point, "No, I believe in traditional values," which was kind of funny.
Understand that.
I thought that was basically that's not the sort of thing he does.
Oh.
Basically, he's a good person.
Oh,
Traditional values like good things.
And then he goes around every side of the ring. Logan was looking at my butt.
It was funny. He had some good lines.
Yeah.
Before he walked in, there was a few other things actually, and you might not have seen this on Powerbomb. As Logan enters, it's still weird not to see the gated community there.
Yeah.
I definitely think that there were Logan haters there. We didn't see this. We didn't see some of the other signs, but somebody did have a sign that said "Abolish Logan," and there was actually 2 of those signs. Every time I tried to get a picture, they took the sign down, and then I put my camera down, and then they'd lift the sign back up again. I'd get my camera, and then they'd put the sign down. It was really frustrating from my point of view. Marko came out with a fanny pack from the Savage stash. He raised it above his head. He made it look like a title belt. I thought that was pretty funny. Oh, that's what it looked like to me. Somebody actually commented on Twitter, at AJ_Doug with 2 G's. Geez, this kid makes Josh Fuller PW look like a heavyweight. So although we said that Josh Fuller's like 135, I don't even think they announced what Marko weighs. He's got to be less than that. Because that was the first thing you thought. Because you even compared him to Hornswoggle. Now, he's not that
he's
small.
a little taller than that.
He's a lot taller than that. But yeah, he did when he came in, it's like, oh my gosh, Logan's so much bigger than him.
Yeah, I imagined him as like a guy kind of looking like Dean Ambrose. I remember the black cap. I saw him, but I didn't see his height. So I thought he was looking like Dean Ambrose size. And then that's how he would be, but no.
And that's what people knew him for, and that's what I knew him for ahead of time. That he's not tall, but he'll put his body on the line, and he's an exciting wrestler.
Cool stunts, so,
now there was also a few other things that he said. Logan also responded to something. He said, "I'm in the top 1%," and he said, "No, that's EC3." Well, we talked about that on a previous episode. He also called him Logan Weston Parker. Weston instead of Easton. It's a different spelling, but anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure on the Parker part. I don't know why that's the opposite of Laroux, but anyway. And he also described him as 1% human and 99%. And we said we were going to bleep the word, but we'll just say jerk, and we'll pick a nicer word. And that was it. Yeah, there was a few other things at the start as well. Logan also kneeled down as well to mock Marko's height as well, to show him that he was like on the same height as that. All right, what you got for the match?
So, for the match, I remember that Marko Stunt, he's very acrobatic. He was jumping all over Logan. I remember he jumped off the ropes, and then he went off the ropes onto Logan, and then he face planted him. And then that's all I really have for the match.
All right,
I was so into it.
I'm going to read you what I put for this one. Crowd really gets fired up by a suicide dive, and that was right at the start. And then I just sat back and enjoyed this one. I didn't write anything else.
Yeah.
And the reason I put that was I'd heard Marko was really good, and I just wanted to watch it, and I knew I could watch it again with you anyway. So I was trying to pay attention to the thing. I did get the ending though. The match ended with a 540 attempt, but it turned into an RKO from Logan. Okay, so he reversed that move. At the end of the match, Logan asked Brian for the mic, and he said, "Cut my music and shut your mouth." Who does that sound like to you?
The Rock.
Oh, I thought it was more like Elias. To me, that sounded just like Elias. He always tells him to shut your mouth.
No,
and things like that.
Rock's one of his catchphrases, "Know your role and shut your mouth."
Oh, I guess so. Yeah, that would make sense as well. So he asked them to do that anyway, and then he talked about the 1% still being legitimate. Okay. He also made a joke at Marko's expense, saying that he came out a little short tonight. And he also said the decline of the 1% is premature. Now, I also got some quotes from Twitter after this. Dylan Hayes I've used a few times. He makes some really good comments on Twitter. He's interesting to watch. So, at Dylan Waco, Marko is awesome, but Logan Easton Laroux is one of the best and most underrated guys in indie wrestling. Just really, really good. And he's good at things that a lot of pro wrestlers just don't get right at all. Don't sleep on him. And I thought so as well. I think Logan is definitely underrated.
Yeah.
He's really good at playing that character, and he makes other people look good as well. I really like that side of him. I'm reading ahead to the next one. Marko Stunt tweeted, and he's known as Mr. Fun Size at Marko Stunt. "I'm setting this goal now. I will wrestle in New York and New Jersey WrestleMania weekend." This was actually from July 21st. That's his pinned tweet. So if we go to WrestleMania, we're definitely going to see Marko again.
So, his Twitter account is Mr. Fun Size. That reminds me of a candy bar.
That's the whole point.
Oh.
They're smaller versions.
Oh.
So they're like he's like a smaller version of a wrestler.
Like usually it's the big fun
Correct.
size candy bar. Oh. Okay.
I thought that was a really clever name.
So he's gonna be at WrestleMania?
That's his aim. We don't know yet. That's his aim.
He should.
Of course, he doesn't have to be at. He just says he's going to be at WrestleMania weekend. They have a lot of events up there. I can't see any reason why he wouldn't be because he's part of the All In this weekend. So I'm sure that he's going to keep continuing to grow.
I really want to see PCO and Undertaker.
Okay.
The dream trip fatal four way would be Nick Gage, new Tim Donst, Homicide, and PCO.
All right, let me finish this one up first before we start fantasy booking a whole card. Man, at VA Wrestling was a blast. Thank you for the warm welcome. That's from Marko Stunt as well. At Deshaun 2 cents, Sean Scoville says, at Marko Stunt is so much fun to watch. And at Pocket Volcano says, and here comes at Marko Stunt. He's going to win over this crowd immediately. And I agree with that. He totally did. He was very popular, you could see. And the clap, you were like, what are they doing? I was like, everyone was into it. It was like the... Yes, it was. It was 2 claps and 1 clap. It was 2 claps and 1 clap. And everybody did exactly what it was. But everybody got into it straight away. Everyone was...
I just hate that.
You can't do that as a new person normally. You don't have a thing. No one knows what it is. Everyone was into it straight away. I thought it was really good.
I know, but I hate the new days.
Okay,
so
well, that's neither here nor there. Okay, following on from a theme from the Big Gold Belt, they always tend to talk about the wrestlers. After they've done the interview, they always ask them, which is better, Wawa or Sheets? They're the 2 different gas stations where you can get food from. So he actually said, Marko Stunt said, trying out at Sheets for the first time, along with at Varsity TK, who also made his Nova Pro debut. Nick Higgy actually also commented, we recruited some more gentlemen into the Sheets family. So Marko Stunt is definitely a Sheets family.
Sheets is good.
Now, the end of that match actually leads perfectly into Stardom Match 4. Because Logan was in the ring, and then actually Bobby Shields and Alexander James came out. Let me have a look what I have for this one. I thought I had who they were last time. There we go. Bobby Shields won a 6-way match, which I talked about earlier. Isaiah Frazier was one of those people who was in that. And Alexander James beat Sage Phillips, which we were surprised about, because Alexander James was a last-minute replacement for that match. Okay? Yeah. All right, what have you got for this one?
So I have that Logan, he stayed out for the match. It was Bobby Shields and Alexander James. And he's wearing Marko Stunt's fanny pack on his neck. And he's still wearing his hat.
He wore his cap backwards as well. And I actually took a picture of him wearing that fanny pack because it looked kind of funny. And I said, I don't think even 1% of people actually wear it like that.
Oh, yeah.
And he retweeted it and basically said, man, I look handsome in this. He plays a good role. He plays a good role.
It was also funny when Marko said the EC3 thing. And then Marko called him EC 1%.
Oh, he did, yeah. He said 1.5.
Yeah,
because he's a half as good as EC3. I'd forgotten that one. I didn't even write that one. I was trying to write quotes down, but he was coming out with a lot of zingers, so I actually missed that one. All right, keep going. What else we got for this?
So I'm starting into the match.
Okay, let me give one more thing first. For those of you, I know we actually have, and this really surprises me, Mason. I found out in the last couple of months, we have people who listen to this who don't even go to Nova Pro.
Oh.
They don't even have Powerbomb, as far as I can tell. We have a few listeners. They actually probably have no idea who Alexander James is right now. So I saw one quote about this. This is from the Jeff Ross of wrestling Twitter. He said, how big is Alexander James? He has that look that mid-2000s Vinces would salivate over. Somebody else said, Alexander James has the charm of Will Ospreay and the strength of Davey Smith Jr. An interesting combination. So if you've no idea who this wrestler is, hopefully that might give you some idea of what he actually looks like.
Oh, yeah, that was funny that Maddie one time shouted that that he was wearing eyeliner. I didn't really notice that.
He does. It's when we went up to get that autograph, it's very noticeable.
Yeah.
Most people don't. I'm trying to think who else does that. There's somebody else who really does that. Oh, who fought Sage Phillips in the last match? I'm trying to remember. No, it's not.
Jonathan Gresham?
No, it's not that. Who did we also see at AIW? Who's also on Impact Wrestling who manages Congo Kong?
Oh, Jimmy Jacobs.
Jimmy Jacobs also does the eyeliner thing as well.
Prince.
Zombie, thank you. I was trying to remember his nickname, couldn't remember what it was. He also does a big thing with eyeliner as well, so it's pretty noticeable on that. All right, let's get back to this match before we go off on a tangent.
Bobby, he had Alexander James in a submission, and he does some push-ups.
He did. That was really cool. I missed that when I watched the match first
So
time.
he had like his legs in an armbar, and then he
Mhm.
did push-ups to apply more pressure.
Uh huh.
And then Alexander James got out of it, and Alexander James got Bobby Shields both of his legs into a submission, and then he started doing some more push-ups. So that put pressure on both of his legs, not just one arm. So I thought that was cool. And then Bobby got him in a submission, and then Logan, he held out his hand for Bobby, but he couldn't get it.
He couldn't grab him, but yeah, he tried to give him some extra leverage, and certainly Alexander James did notice that, as we'll find out later.
And I got the ending.
And you got more than me, because pretty much I thought it was pretty even to begin with, and it was pretty civil as well. They were both friendly to each other, but they were having a good wrestling match. I'll let you get to the finish then.
So Alexander wins, and I don't know how he wins. I didn't get that.
It was tagged out to a submission.
Oh,
He
yeah.
applied a submission move pretty much after that attempt at the other submission.
And Logan, he's there, and then he extends his hand out to Alexander James.
Yep.
They shake it.
Yep.
Alexander James turns around, then turns back around and catches Logan's boot.
Yep.
And then he's holding it, and then Bobby. Oh, I almost said Bobby Lashley. Bobby Shields. He attacks him from the back. He almost did. He
Tried to.
He sidestepped it, and then he attacked Logan, and then he swept them up.
And I thought that Alexander James was going to get crushed in this, and it didn't turn out that way. Logan tried to give him that cheap kick, and it didn't work. Bobby tried to take him out. That didn't work either.
Which sucks because he challenged Logan to Nova Project 4. Loser leaves Nova Pro. Winner takes over 1%, which is
Correct.
only Bobby Shields now.
Now, actually, when Logan and Bobby actually left, he said, "Give me the mic," because he wanted to talk about what just happened. And someone from the crowd shouts, "The 1% sucks." And he's like, "You're darn right they do." So he was not happy at this point. Obviously, he's a big character. He says like he's defended his title in different countries. He's main evented 5 countries. He's done all these things, and whenever he's been at Nova Pro, he's always had to do things for Logan. He's had to carry the bags and things like that. So he did make that. He did definitely make that challenge. And unfortunately, well, I don't know. I talked to you about this yesterday. I think he loses.
Yeah.
I can't see any way that Logan Easton Laroux leaves Nova Pro.
He's the one that main evented every single project of Nova Pro. He won the Commonwealth Cup.
Yep.
And he has lots of
And
achievements.
If Bobby doesn't interfere, now I'm actually wondering, and we talked about this before, we haven't seen Jean-Jean correct for a long time. So is this finally going to be the appearance?
Yes.
It's been a while. That story's been on the back burner. I don't think there's any way that Alexander James is winning this.
I really hope that Mike doesn't throw that away. The Jean-Jean Le Bon.
Don't know.
While Alexander James and Bobby Shields and Logan's still there, he could interfere in the match, and then he could get Alexander James disqualified.
All right, I got a few tweets for you. At FrankieG410. Dang, Alexander James just gave one heck of a promo on Logan Easton Laroux, and he did. It was very effective. Now, I forgot this. Alexander James his Twitter handle is Prince of Pro.
Yeah.
If he wins this match, I'm claiming he's going to be called the Prince of Nova Pro.
Yes.
I've never even seen anything mentioned with between those two, but we'll have to see. Now, also, while I thought about this, all the drama going on with the 1%. Of course, there's somebody who's not in the 1% right now as well. The corporate captain, Gunnar Miller. With him being injured, we haven't seen him for a long time. So I thought, oh, what about Gunnar? Well, how does he fit into this? So I actually looked on Twitter to see. He's obviously recovering right now. He's made one tweet in the last 3 months. But certainly we're hoping that he's recovering from injury.
I hope he comes out.
He might come ringside. He could be a distraction.
He could talk.
He doesn't have to interfere in the match. He doesn't have to play an active part, but he could certainly. Can you imagine his music playing, him walking out, and Alexander James going, whoa, and then suddenly Logan could roll him up? I don't know. It's possible.
But how does Le Jean-Jean Le Bon fit?
Well, I don't know. It was something I had afterwards. Whichever way you look at it, he's not winning this match.
But something big is
Bobby Shields could interfere. Jean-Jean Le Bon could interfere. Corporate captain could come out. There's so many different things that can happen. I don't see any way Alexander James is winning this one. But when we do predictions for the next one, we'll see what you say. But if I was making predictions, I'd be picking Logan all the way.
Like Gunnar Miller, he could get them back together.
He could. He could. He could be the mediator.
And then he could say like, "I broke my knee for you guys," and then you're just gonna throw this broken knee friendship away or something like that.
All right, let's move on. Match 5: Pop Culture, who are making their debut, versus the Ugly Ducklings. So Pop Culture was Jason Cade, who was making his debut, and also Vader Scott, who obviously was not making her debut. The Ugly Ducklings won an amazing 4-way tag team match at Harlem Nights. That was at the Elks Lodge. That was really good. And like I said, Pop Culture were making their debut. What do you have for this one?
Jason Cade is really good.
Oh, he's really good.
Is he coming back?
I hope so. The crowd certainly asked for it, and I certainly would like to see him back. Yeah, he was really good. I'd not heard anything about him. I'd never heard of Jason Cade before.
Okay, so I thought it was really funny that Veda Scott, she picks up both of the Ugly Ducklings and slams them down.
Alright, that's like the last thing that happened in this match. Alright, I'm taking over to begin with on this. Now, I don't know what happened on this match, or this whole event. I actually noticed things with clothing this time, and I'm the least observant part with that. The first thing I noticed was Vader was wearing Jason Cade's shirt, and Jason Cade was wearing Vader's shirt. So they actually, I'm sure they didn't switch shirts. I'm sure it's like the merch thing. So that was one thing.
I think this was one of the matches where it cut out.
It might be. You didn't lose that much, though. You saw part of this. There was also the classic Duck, Duck, Goose they did, but Vader managed to kick out at 2. You definitely saw this part, but you chose not to mention it. Vader did a head scissors on the ring apron on Rob Killjoy, and he went flying right into one of the photographers from J. Lee Photography. Because I actually asked her later, I was like, please tell me you got a picture of like Rob Killjoy's boot coming right at you. And we saw the replay.
Oh.
He did. He crashed into her. It obviously wasn't deliberate.
How does she? You said that she said she didn't know.
She didn't know, and I haven't looked on the picture. I've been really bad. Normally I looked. She has like thousands. Her and I think it's her husband have like thousands of pictures posted, and they're really interesting to look through. Unfortunately, my first week back at school, I've been so busy. I've missed lots of podcasts this week. I haven't looked at hardly any pictures. I just haven't had a chance to see. So
that would be cool. That would be really scary half the time though, when they're up next to the ring.
Yeah.
Like especially when it's a Nick Gage and Tim Donst match, and then you're right next to them and they smash neon lights next to you.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're trying to look through that camera, you don't get such a good idea of what's going on around you.
Like
if
you're focusing in the ring and then suddenly Homicide and Tim Donst are fighting on the outside.
Oh, I totally agree with you. Now, I actually wrote one. I had a lot of notes for this match. As much as I just want to watch the Ugly Ducklings, I was like, I got to try and write something down. I can't just say it was an amazing match, so I tried to.
For Alexander James.
And I wrote a lot down, but unfortunately I wrote so quick I couldn't even read all my notes. So I have big gaps here as well. I certainly have a double clothesline from Vader Scott, which is I think what you were talking about on the Ducks, and she gave a suplex to both of them as well. So that was kind of cool. All right, do you want to kick back in then? What
Okay,
else do you
so
have?
Veda, she slams both of the Ugly Ducklings, and then Jason Cade's there. She picks him up and then puts him back down. That's some big strength. And Veda Scott, she's also in Ring of Honor.
She was in Ring of Honor. That was one of our first. I think that was your first Ring of Honor DVD, and it was like, whoa, that's Veda Scott. I didn't know that at the time. I thought I was really excited. Yep. I always get excited when I see Nova Pro people in other places.
Yeah, Jackson even brought the little cat that Veda Scott. And then he brought that to England.
I forgot about that, yeah, because she was the crazy cat lady or whatever.
Bat. I think he still has him in his bed.
I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that.
He was like his whole
that was a
lot of masks.
Match against Alley Cat.
Yes.
I totally forgot about that.
She had her hair and all that. She had a maid's dress. And then she looked like she was
the crazy cat lady. And I thought that was funny. All right, I got a few more things for this match. The Ugly Ducklings did get their own back on Vader Scott though. There was a well-timed double kick. They both kicked her at the same time. Jason Cade caught Lance Lude on an attempt to launchpad McQuack to Vader Scott. That was really cool. That was really good. I like that one. Both members of Pop Culture tried to pin Rob simultaneously, but that didn't work either. And then finally, to end the match, there was another launchpad McQuack, which did actually work, and I think Vader Scott was the one that got pinned. And to answer your question, I did write down Jason Cade got the "Please come back" chant from the crowd, and yeah, I would. Actually, I think the Ugly Ducklings got out of the ring at that time. I think they let Jason Cade take the sword of applause.
Arik did to PCO. Correct. Man, I'm really feeling like Matt today.
No, it was. You could tell that they wanted to let him. He was a good star in that match. We already had a heck of a debut from Marko Stunt, and then we also had Jason Cade in there as well. There were some good debuts this time. I was impressed. All right, we've got a few quotes for you here. At Nina Links 0, I think, or it might be an O. At It's Vader Time, at Jason Cade, at 3 Mother Duckers, just one heck of a match. And I agree, it was really good. What have I got for this one? A quote from Vader Scott. I say my greatest fear is failure, but it's actually driving away from the gas station with the pump still plugged into my car. And that tells you I couldn't find much. Nobody quoted really anything after the match. That was our only thing. That would be really embarrassing if that happened. If you drive away, because it like rips the whole thing out. And I've seen videos of that happen, and that would be really bad.
That would hurt your paycheck too.
Yes, I'm sure they're really expensive to repair. Which made me wonder, has that really happened to her, or has she seen somebody who did it? I don't know. I'm not going to know the answer to that one. So let's move on to match 6. John Skylar versus Arik Royal. John Skylar lost to Wheeler Yuta in a 4-way qualifying match for the Commonwealth Cup, and he makes Wheeler's win. That makes Wheeler's win all the more impressive. He won the Commonwealth Cup, and I'd forgotten this. He won all those 3 matches to get there. He had to win a 4-way match just to even get into the Commonwealth Cup, and I'd totally forgotten about that. You would assume that some people who were like, they asked like, hey, can I get in the Commonwealth Cup? Yeah, you're in the Commonwealth Cup. And they just had to go. He had to win a 4-way match to get into the Commonwealth Cup, and I have to admit, I'd totally forgotten that one. Arik Royal was coming off back-to-back losses. He lost in the Powerbomb Championship with Tracy Williams, and he also lost in the Commonwealth Cup final to Wheeler Yuta as well. Some pretty big matches there as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, what do you got for this one?
Well, I was about to say that Arik, he was 0-3 before this match.
I had him as 0-2, but I might have missed one.
Yeah, you missed. There was Jonathan. No, didn't he fight Hot Sauce?
That's the one I just had.
Then he had the Commonwealth Cup, which you had, and then
That's it.
I thought
the final was Hot Sauce was in the final as well.
Oh. Okay.
That's why he fought him again on a singles match, just to show that it was a little more. Because the other one he had to worry about Yuta and Sage Phillips as well.
And then I remember in that match, that was so cool when Sage hit him like 100 times.
There
and
was
then
a lot.
he was
That
outside
crazy.
next to us, and then he said, "Dang,
Yeah.
he hit me like 100 times."
He did.
I have Arik Royal's armband.
You
upstairs.
do. And also, you're
I
also
don't know
gonna.
if it's his headband either.
And also, I talked to him actually at the. There wasn't an intermission for this one. It was kind of weird. They went through 10 matches, had an intermission because Powerbomb TV left, and they had 3 matches at the end. So after 10 matches, there was an intermission, which was like after 2.5 hours. It was a long time. I did talk to Arik Royal. He still doesn't have any 8x10s because I know he wanted his autograph. But he did say if he doesn't get any, he will sign your jersey. And I told him that it's the one that PCO signed. So that would actually be pretty cool because then that was obviously one of the big matches of the Commonwealth Cup.
Yeah.
PCO and Arik Royal, that would be kind of cool. All right, what we got for this match? Let's move on.
So for this match, I had, Arik, he jumped off the ropes into a drop kick.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
Yeah.
And then I had to deal with the cat for the next 3 matches because she was being fussy.
Oh, she was?
Yeah,
I don't remember
she was
that.
sitting next to the chair with me, and then she kept trying to scratch me and all that stuff.
I do remember that. Yeah, she was not being very
And
nice.
now she's sitting next to me, so innocent.
Oh, she's asleep right
Yeah.
now, so we should be good. All right, so you're telling me that I
Yeah.
need to do this one then?
Yeah, that Arik jumped off the rope was the only thing.
All right. Oh, I forgot his name. I forgot Skylar. John Skylar.
John
Yeah. I was
Skylar.
thinking there's another one. There's a female wrestler called Skylar.
Oh,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of her for a minute. I got all confused. So John Skylar tried calling a timeout early in the match. He's like, no, I'm done. Timeout. And of course that was because Arik was really dominating early on. Skylar had an inverted 1% salute, which he used on the crowd several times when he was getting frustrated. That's my code word, Mason, because we've got to keep this PG. Because you were like, oh, look, he's doing the bird. All right, there you go. Skylar had Arik in a move and taunted him with, you're not the ace, you're the queen of hearts, which I kind of liked as well. And he actually got 2 headbutts for that comment, so he probably regretted it in the end. Skylar also had some offense. He had a Walls of Jericho. Now, I know it's actually, I think it's a Boston Crab, but I always think of it as the Walls of Jericho now. And he turned it into an STF as well, so he got one of John Cena's moves in there as well. There is a pin attempt, but it didn't quite work. We also saw a tornado DDT. Or I saw somebody on Twitter posted that it was a tornado DDT. I saw the video for that, and I actually forgotten that. There was a spear on the apron too, which somebody posted on Twitter. So there were some big moves in this match. Big uppercut from Arik. Oh, this is the one I watched. The big uppercut from Arik. You could see the spit in his mouth go up in the air, and you could see it come down and then land right near the front row, and you could see the front row react to it like, ah! It looked really cool. I thought it was really nice. They looked horrified, but from my point, it looked really cool. I didn't see that on Powerbomb TV, actually. I was just in that angle that I was sat at. And in the end, there was a spear by John Skylar, but there was a kick out at 2. And the ending, I thought, I can't read my notes. I don't remember. I know what it was. It was kind of like a football move. Arik went, as John Skylar was in the air, Arik went underneath him and sort of sideswiped him and knocked him sort of up and then down, and then he got a pin of 3. So I thought that, actually I put down here, yeah, it looked like it was a move footballers would do, and that was about it.
Yeah, I have lots of notes for the next match. But
Okay,
that's all.
well, let's move on to that then. Match 7, Terra Calloway. She was supposed to fight Alicat, but Alicat didn't make it, so basically she challenged every single person in Nova Pro who was at the back.
Yeah.
Now, I have a few things for this one before we start then. So this is from @VA Wrestling. Unfortunate news: @Boogie Bear will no longer be appearing tonight at #Summer of Joy due to a blown-out tire on the way to Virginia. @Terra Calloway will have a new opponent. Well, it turned out that wasn't true. It was multiple opponents. Now, on Sunday, and I'm glad we didn't, normally we'd record the day after, I would have missed this one. Alley Cat posted, so I broke my finger yesterday, and I'm currently on the way home and finding an orthopedic person to look at my hand. Unknown as to how long I could be out, so let's be
I
optimistic.
was about to say,
And that
didn't
was-
she have a broken thumb too? But that was before she had the.
Don't know.
You told me she had the broken thumb.
I said finger.
Oh yeah, finger.
Mhm.
But then I thought, and then I wasn't really paying attention on when.
Mhm.
So I might have thought she was driving. I was thinking she was driving with the broken
okay.
finger.
Well, I guess she was, because she's got to get home from where she was. She had wrestled
No.
Saturday night.
To Terra Calloway.
Oh, okay.
So
No.
So
So I haven't seen anything from that, and like I said, I've been so busy this week. I meant to follow up on that story, and I didn't get the chance to. Also from Terra Calloway on Twitter. You know what, @VA Wrestling? You think you're safe because Angelus and Hollow Horror aren't here? Those two were banned from the match, I think, or they weren't allowed to attend Nova Pro. Well, that was the story. I'm taking this into my own hands. You've been warned. Check out the death of Nova on @Powerbomb TV right now. I will have destruction, and she pretty much did.
Yeah.
Now, Terra Calloway's last match was a defeat of Vader Scott at Harlem Nights, and as there was multiple people in this match, I'm not going to tell you who they fought against. Okay. Brian did announce it was a gauntlet match, and it was actually, I think, 6 people who were up against her.
yeah,
again.
so
All right,
Alley
go ahead.
Cat turned into be 6.
Yep.
People. Okay, so Aspen came in easy 1, 2, 3. Jinx came in easy 1,
All right,
2,
I've got a
3.
bit more than that. Aspen Rose in the Commonwealth Cup, if you remember, she stunned like everybody in
Yes.
the ring. All the guys, it was like kick to the chest, stunner, and then all that. There was like 6 people there. Aspen tried that on Hollow Horror. Absolutely nothing.
You
No, it
mean
was
Terra Calloway?
Sorry, I always get those ones mixed up as well, because it's that Team Gothic. Okay, yes, on Terra, and it did absolutely nothing, and then she did get the pin. Now, actually, that was kind of a nice birthday present. You actually picked Aspen as one of your favourite wrestlers who had their birthday within that week. It was her birthday the day before, so she had quite a nice day off the next day. She was in the ring for 10 seconds, something like that, and then she was out. All right, who's after Aspen?
Jinx.
Yep.
Easy 1, 2, 3.
And can you remember what their team name is? I don't remember. I know that they fought together at the
All I remember is that they're
Fruit Loops.
that was
Hollow Horror called them Fruit Loops.
And then she called herself Fruit Loop too.
Okay, all right.
And then I only remember is the bang bang thing, and then they jump into them on the side.
Okay.
And then Emma Lou,
Mhm.
easy 1, 2, 3.
That's what I had as
And
well.
then Jordynne Blade, she got pinned, easy 1, 2, 3. And then I looked in the back, and Aspen, Jinx, Jordynne Blade, and Emma Lou all were coming out and just got to the back.
They only just got to the back, yeah.
So,
From the back. Now,
so also, after Aspen got pinned, I looked at the cat, and then I looked back, and then Jinx was already back in the ring. So that tells you how quick Terra Calloway had to be.
she was destroying them. It wasn't very long. Now, I did have something to point out about this one. This was kind of strange. One of the Gothic matches, Hollow
We didn't
Horror
get to the
versus Terra. I know. Hollow Horror versus Terra Calloway actually defeated Emma Lou and Jordynne Blade. Those last 2 people who got knocked out. And if you remember, at the end of that, Jordynne Blade actually turned on Emma Lou.
Yes. Yeah.
And she said, basically, you're not my teammate anymore, blah, blah, blah. But then they came out after each other. That story's another one, never been developed. I don't know what happened. They did it for one match, and then suddenly they're coming out after each other. Now, obviously, they recognize them as a tag team, because Aspen Rose came out, and so did Jinx, and that's a tag team.
Yes.
And then Emma Lou comes out, and Jordynne Blade comes out. It's a tag. But they're not friends anymore. I don't know. It was something that, in my mind, didn't quite piece together better. I would have been happier if Emma Lou came out first, Aspen came out, then Jordynne Blade, and then you wouldn't have had that. But yeah, those two should have been fighting
And then
with
they
each other.
were helping each other.
I would have liked it if Jordynne Blade came out before and just took Emma Lou straight out to continue that rivalry, and then jumped in the ring and tried to beat Terra Calloway. She wouldn't have done it, but it would at least continue that story. All right, you're right. There's 2 more people, but I wanted to mention that one at the time because I noticed that one.
And Brittany Blake comes in, and then she's with Barbie Hayden.
No, she's not. I
No,
knew you were going to
no.
do that. I was waiting for you to say that. No, she's with Penelope Ford.
Penelope Ford.
You're right. You do mix those 2 up.
And then Brittany Blake comes in, fights with her for a couple seconds, and then she says, Penelope Ford, she grabs Terra Calloway's leg.
Yep.
And then Terra Calloway says, come on, Penelope Ford, you can get in too. And then Brian announces it.
Yep.
Brian's like the best announcer ever.
He's great.
So with the crowd too. and then Terra Calloway picks both up and she slams both down hard.
Yep.
And I missed the rest dealing with the cat again.
All right, and I don't have the specifics, but I do know that Brittany Blake got the pin. But after that, though, although she got the pin, they were obviously both of the girls were in a quite a perilous position. Terra Calloway got sprayed up after being pinned and basically just threw them around the ring like rag dolls and basically got the better of the two. Terra Calloway actually posted on Twitter later, I made my statement. I wrestled 6 matches tonight at VA Wrestling. I beat 4 girls without a sweat, correct? And I made sure bad behavior, left in pieces after they thought they got the upper hand, and she did. I don't care if it's with #Gothic, I don't care if it's on my own, I will end Nova. So that's quite a statement right there. It did make me think, if she's so dominant by herself, what's the point of Gothic?
Yeah.
She clearly doesn't need Angela Slane. She clearly doesn't need Hollow Horror as well. Yeah, I'm kind of... If she's that dominant figure, she's like that Braun Strowman figure. Like, she doesn't need anybody else. Why would you even put them together as a tag team?
She destroyed Faye Jackson.
Yep.
And Terra Calloway's she's
Yep.
big, and then Faye Jackson's pretty big too, but Terra Calloway's...
She's
we
strong.
saw her at the Sink or Swim.
Who?
Terra Calloway.
We did?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that.
That was her. I didn't get her name.
Okay.
I just called her Dinosaur Queen, but that didn't
Oh,
follow
you're right.
up.
You're right. I didn't think it was at the Sink or Swim. I thought it was at the Ripper to Shreds. I thought it was all the women together. But perhaps I got that one wrong. All right, let's move on to the match 8. Shotzi Blackheart versus Jordynne Grace. I was really looking forward for this one. I'd heard some good things about Shotzi, so I was excited to see that. And we always like to see Jordynne Grace. I had no doubt Jordynne Grace was going to win this one. All right, Jordynne beat Rain at Harlem Nights, and this was the debut for Shotzi Blackheart. Quote from on Twitter. This is from Lainey Luck, who wasn't there. Oh man, I bet this was as good as heck. And Jordynne Grace responded, it was heckin' good. Alright, I might be paraphrasing a little bit on that one. And one thing I did see on Shotzi's on her apparel or whatever she was wearing, I couldn't figure this out. I really paid attention to this stuff this time. She had VFIII on her arm. I have no idea what that means. I was trying to think, what does that stand for? I have no idea. It could be like VF the Third. I still have no idea what that is. I didn't find out what that is. She also had Ballsy on her Viking hat, because that was one of the clear things that was part of her outfit that was kind of noticed.
Something else, though. I saw that she had I told you that with all her tattoos, she looked like she ride on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And then...
Biker chick.
Biker chick. And then she had a motorcycle hat with 2 horns on the top.
You were all around on a bicycle, on a motorbike with that. That would definitely stand out. That might be a little dangerous with those horns on the side. I don't think that would protect your head too much. All right, let me get on with this one as well. Quick start, lots of quick pin attempts. Shotzi had some great offense. There was a code breaker in there. There was some swinging net breakers. Jordynne slammed down Shotzi, but she kicked out at 2. And in the end, Shotzi tapped out to the bear hug. I don't like that finish. I don't like that bear hug finish, actually. I'd much rather see, I don't know, a pin, or I like it when Jordynne goes up the ropes and then jumps down. I don't know. I guess I don't mind it occasionally.
It's kind of like Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa match. It was a great match, but then the ending, it was a little downfall. I didn't like it.
I didn't think the match was going to end at that point. I was like, oh, she just tapped her out. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't like the finish. I didn't have much for this, and the reason I didn't have much was I was just enjoying the match.
Yeah.
There was so much going on, I just couldn't write it down, so I just didn't even try to. A few tweets from after this. At Dismal Abysmal. I think that's a great Twitter name, by the way. I have no idea who that is. It's by somebody called Dismal Abysmal. I just like the rhyming. Every once in a while, a wrestler comes along who I just don't see how anybody could beat them. Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, Vader, Bret Hart, Yokozuna, Awesome Kong, and now at Jordynne Grace.
Vader?
I just don't see how any woman on the planet can believably pin or submit her. I would have to admit, every time we have a match, I'm always picking Jordynne Grace to win.
Yeah, the last person that beat her was Fred Yehai.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And then Jonathan Gresham had to come in and throw the towel. But that wasn't her fault.
Also, somebody we mentioned earlier, that at Nina Links 0, or it might be O, I'm not sure. At Jordynne Grace, at Shotzi Black, what an awesome match. Was it wrong to admit I was cheering for the both of you? And I gotta admit, I didn't really care who won particularly. I thought Jordynne would. They were both really good. And I hope Shotzi's coming back as well. She was definitely a very talented wrestler for sure. Okay, as you didn't have much, I'm going to keep going then. Jordynne asked for the microphone after this, and she said, Shotzi, you did great. You get to face Hot Sauce Tracy Williams at Black Label on Sunday. for the Powerbomb TV title.
Oh.
If you win, I want the first shot at that title. And this is a part we had to skip through because Powerbomb TV was messed up. And if you don't, I'm going to take that title back from Tracy Williams, what he took from my husband. And they were like, whoa. Now, a couple of things. I didn't even think they were married. I thought it was a boyfriend. I have question mark scribbled after this. Now, actually, a few days later, when I was looking on Twitter, and I don't know why this was. Oh, it just happened to come up. Jordynne Grace posted it. 1 year ago today, at the John Gresham and I got married, and I'm doing air quotes right now to Mason, which means it probably wasn't really married. In Canada at Nikita Koloff in his hotel room at 2 a.m. He is a legend for making this happen to us. So I don't think it was an official ceremony, but I thought that was an interesting choice of words. I've never heard them talk about their relationship when they've been in the ring before, but I thought that was exciting. So either way, we do know that Jordynne Grace is going to fight for the Powerbomb TV title at the next Nova Pro. And it would either have been Shotzi or it would have been Hot Sauce Tracy Williams. Now, I did ask, somebody talked about this. Somebody actually said that they were actually fighting already. I was like, whoa, what happened? I was like, Jordynne's not supposed to be fighting Hot Sauce on the Sunday. This is supposed to be Nova Pro. They set the match up, and then they changed it. They actually had a tag team match. So Jordynne's actually already faced Hot Sauce Tracy Williams, and the match on Sunday. But yes, the person who was watching that confirmed for me, it is going to be at Nova Pro next month. So that'll be a really good one to look forward to as well.
PCO is there too.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And somebody actually put this out as well. At Ukulele Lloyd, impromptu challenge from at Jordynne Grace to at Source_Williams for the at Powerbomb TV Independent Championship title. It's happening tonight. Yes. That was the person who I talked to. That was it. And then he said no, it didn't actually happen. They just had the tag team match. All right, let's keep going, Mason. We're doing really well here. We haven't had a cut or anything. I haven't seen anything that needed editing because I'm not editing anything from this one. I don't care. We got to get this one out. Match 9. This was the main event. This was Homicide and Person Unknown, and Wheeler Yuta and Person Unknown. So when I asked you for your picks at the start, I didn't tell you who it was going to be. Homicide came out first, and he immediately announced that his person was going to be Nick Gage. And at that point, I was like, well, I already know who Yuta's picked. He's picked Tim Donst, and clearly there's not going to be a safety first Tim Donst, because that battle's going to continue as well. That's the type of booking I liked. That made a sense in terms of the story. I know we don't have much because we watched this one so intensely, and I had to be careful because I was nearly got hit by a chair.
No.
So I had to, and you could see on the Powerbomb TV, I was close to that action.
That was like the last time I hit in the bar.
You did. My jersey really stands out on Powerbomb TV, and you could see I was right near that action, and I was trying to get, everyone's on their phone again. Everyone's trying to record like little bits while they're watching it.
Okay, so you almost got hit by a chair.
Imagine
getting slammed through a door.
Yeah, or being hit by those lights as well. All right, tell us what you got for this one.
Okay, so I got that Homicide. No, Nick Gage threw Tim Donst through a lot of chairs.
He did.
And there was a woman sitting right next to him.
She wouldn't move. Well, from my perspective, because they were like, get out of the way, get out of the way. She didn't really move, and they went right by the side of her. And it happened like 2 or 3 times, and finally on the third one, she did try to get out of the way. But yeah, it was...
That would be all the way across the room.
If they say move, I'm moving. And I'm a pretty big guy, but I'm not getting in the way of something like that. Because you want to let them fight anyway, so you don't want to do anything that could stop them from having the best match possible. But...
Yeah, like, that would take away from Nova Pro, and then, like, Nova Pro's a good place to be. It's not like you don't want to waste somebody's money because you don't want to go get out the way.
I don't know. I wonder if it might have been somebody who'd never been to a wrestling match before and didn't quite know what was coming. Everybody else knew. We know if you see the Gage and you see safety last Tim Donst, you get out of the way because there's going to be things. Or if you see PCO and Nick Gage, you're getting out of the way. So we had a little inside knowledge, I guess.
Before, I didn't even know who PCO was.
We do now.
But then, I didn't know he was 50 years old and he would be jumping around the ring, doing all that stuff.
Now, I just realised, we're on match 9. This got announced earlier in the proceedings, and I obviously didn't write it down at the time. It was announced that Marko Stunt's going to be coming back. Yeah. And it was also announced that PCO is also coming back as well. So that's going to be not the next one. That's not a Nova Pro Project 4. It's actually going to be the one in October, whose name I don't actually remember yet. So I know you wouldn't have wanted to miss that one. That's for sure.
PCO is probably my favorite indie wrestler.
Yeah, I'm going to say, you've only seen him twice, but we saw him one of them on Powerbomb. But yeah, he's quickly risen to the top for you. I know you're a big PCO fan. And I know that we'll definitely be wearing our jerseys for that one. Yeah. I guess this should also go in here at this time. So we really enjoyed the hockey jerseys this year. Yeah. I think it's really cool. They do stand out on TV. They're really hot to wear, though, sometimes. Yeah. It's normally air-conditioned inside, but when you're getting to the event in the summer, it's hot. So I actually ordered the jerseys for next year already. I don't need to change mine because mine's 20, but you can't wear 2018 and 2019.
Yeah.
So I actually ordered. I was looking at Capitals jerseys. I didn't go with that. As they had we're both really big baseball fans, and you actually just started your baseball season. We actually ordered All-Star Game jerseys because that was actually in DC. I ordered the American League jersey, and I have Nova Pro 20 on the back. Mason has the National League jersey, which has Wrestling and 19 on the back. I picked the Red Sox as my team from the American League. You have Nationals on yours on the sleeve. It's got that really cool logo on from the All-Star Game, and it also has on yours. Is yours the one with the Capitol, or do you have the Washington Monument? I don't know if you can remember.
I think I have the Washington Monument.
Okay, so when it say national, it also has that figured on there, and on the American League, you can also see the other.
And it has the Constitution, we think, on the letters.
It looks like it. It looks like it's some sort of writing, some all-star writing. I think the jerseys look really nice.
I like mine because it says wrestling on the back, and then like I could go to WWE.
You can wear it anywhere you like.
VCW.
Yep.
And Nova Pro, which we based it on for. But it just says wrestling. It doesn't say Nova Pro because if mine.
I don't mind wearing Nova Pro. I'm from Northern Virginia. I got no problem with that. I got no problem with wearing mine either separately. We did pick different ones this time. Last time we got both Ducks jerseys the same, but I don't like the red ones as much. I know you look better in red than I do. I prefer to wear blue, and I thought it'd be cool to kind of get the different teams in as well, just because they got those different logos on them as well. So I thought we'd mention that at this point as well. All right, what else have you got? I hope so. I think they look really nice, but they're going to be a lot cooler for us when we're traveling in the summer. Of course, you know what the problem's going to be, right? When we go to the winter events, we'll be absolutely frozen probably. But we can wear a jacket and take the jacket off before we get to before I get to Nova Pro, I can just take my jacket off and then run inside.
I was thinking of like having a jacket under me.
I'm not putting mine. Oh, yours is pretty big actually.
Yeah, mine is small. I'm small for the jersey.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll probably help me fit.
It says small, but it's a big small. It doesn't look like a small to me.
It's a big show small.
It's something like that. All right, well, I guess we should get back to this match because we went totally off on a tangent. I don't think we've talked about anything except for Tim Donst going through the chair. So what else we got?
So Homicide in Wheeler Yuta's sitting on a chair, and then Homicide has a chair, and then he like uses it like a lawnmower. And then like he does like the motorcycle thing, revving it up, and then he pushes it.
It's like a bowling. I think of it like bowling. It's like
I
a
think
strike.
of it as John Cena and Alberto Del Rio.
Okay.
And
I like that move.
Yeah.
We've seen him do it a couple of times. I think it always looks impressive.
I think it was really cool that Homicide told me to stay in school.
Yeah, it doesn't really fit in with his character particularly well, but yeah, no, that was because you were confused by that because he was like, we're on summer holidays right now. It's like, no, he doesn't mean that. He means in general, just like don't quit school or anything like that. All right, I got a couple of things I definitely want to mention though, and I didn't write down too much. I'm doing this from memory and also from what I saw the other day. One thing was Tim Donst got thrown over Peter Scott's merch table, and everything went flying. She has pins, T-shirts, and what did you notice about Veda?
I noticed that Veda Scott was in the background texting on her phone or something like that.
Did she even notice? You couldn't really tell, but she didn't.
But then Homicide, who's walking towards the ring with one of Veda Scott's shirt on it,
I didn't
on
even
his shoulder,
see that
and then
either.
one of the guys tugged it off of him and then ran away to his Terra table.
Oh, I didn't even see that part. What else have I got on here?
Oh yeah, there's another Impact wrestler there for you, Homicide.
Of course, yep. Now, here was the part I had a problem with. I talked about this earlier. I was focused on Tim Donst and Nick Gage because they were closest to me. Once they walked around the outside, they walked by the commentator's table and they were right near me. I was focused on them. At the same time, Wheeler and Homicide are going out in the ring, and I'm trying to look between one, and I was like, no, I'm just going to focus on one. And I actually missed the ending. I had no idea what happened. I was like, oh, I guess Homicide won. And the thing that we did see was, because we watched it on the Powerbomb TV, because the camera focused on it, there was a low blow on Yuta, which the ref didn't see, because Homicide grabbed onto the ref, and then did a low blow on Yuta while he was behind him, so he got that one. Also, was Yuta's climbing up to the top rope ready to do a thing, Homicide pushed the ref into the post, which brought Wheeler down as well, and then he actually got the pin, 1, 2, 3. Oh, did he? No, he didn't get the pin, sorry. He actually got the submission move on him, and he tapped out. At the end of the match, Wheeler was very unhappy about this, and he actually pushed the ref and knocked him over, and pushed him into the corner, didn't he? He fell to the ground. Matt actually sent me this the next morning, on Monday. He said, did you see this? I was like, no. And he sent me the tweet, and it said that he's actually been suspended for the next match. So I don't know if that's like a real thing or whatever. I don't think it's real either, but I missed.
Mike
He might be busy next time. He might just have something on next month.
Yeah,
and gives him a break.
I honestly thought that Mike, he would not hire an ad at all if that was real.
I wouldn't have thought so either. That would certainly make sense.
Does not mess around with that kind of stuff.
No, I wouldn't have thought so either. And they have genuinely suspended people as well,
Yes.
from what I've read. Okay, that was the end. That was Powerbomb TV cut off. They went to their next event, which I don't remember which one it was actually. It was something. It was like free something. I guess it's not really important. It might be freelance wrestling. That's not really that important. Intermission. We've had 9 matches here, 2.5 hours. You weren't there, but I did want to get you some autographs. Actually, before that match even finished, and this is why I missed Wheeler being pushed, I saw Marko was out, and I'm like, I'm going straight to Marko. I want to get his autograph, because I thought a lot of people would go to him. So I got his autograph for you. I told him that you weren't there, but you'd like to. And then hopefully we can try and get a picture with him at the next one. We'll take it back with us. But he signed it for you, and I thought that was cool. Also, we've missed Aspen a couple of times, so I wanted to make sure I got Aspen Rose's autograph. Jinx was next to her. I thought that was a good one to get. And I think that actually fills out your collection. All the people that you said from the tryout show who you really liked, we have an autograph.
Yeah,
Benjamin Banks signed your jersey. You have Aspen Rose's autograph now. You have Jinx's autograph, and you also have Bobby Orlando.
And Bobby Orlando Jr.
Well, I don't think you have his autograph. I don't think the goat signed the picture for you. But no, I think
I got a picture with the goat.
You have a picture with the goat, but I think that makes the full collection. Now, right? Everybody who you said who you thought was really good and should come back, they did. They all came back.
Yeah.
And yes, you managed to get their autograph. So that was pretty cool that we managed to get that. We will take those pictures back, and then we'll try and do the same thing. We'll try and get a picture with Aspen with you and a picture with Jinx. It'd be nice if they could come back as that tag team. And then we can get just one picture together. I think that would be pretty cool. Now, after that, you didn't have time to watch. You actually watched last night for like 2 hours and 15 minutes. So we're on to my matches now. And I'm going to talk through. You can throw things in, okay? But I'm going to try and keep these fairly short. Match 10. Hooligans versus PME. PME lost to the Ugly Ducklings in a 4-way tag match at Harlem Nights. And the Hooligans beat the Carnies and the Ugly Ducklings at American Slang. Match starts off with a dance-off of sorts. And Buff Ref joins in. There's way too much going on this. I couldn't keep up with it. I really like PME. I think they've been really good at the previous one. It's the guy who you think looks like Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh,
I think he looks like Enzo. I can't remember his name. The P stands for something. I think it's Moreno or something. I think his Twitter's like Minds of Moreno or something. The P, I can't remember. The E is of course, the E is the experience though, I think. So it's like their initials and then the experience. But they look really good. They come out in those orange jumpsuits. I don't know why I'm remembering so much about clothes on this one, but I actually got a good feel for this one.
Tenaglia.
There you go. That's it. That's his name. Yep. And I didn't have much for this one because there was just way too much going on. Now, after the match, the Hooligans did win this one. But the Ducks came out, and they've actually announced, and I'm trying to remember which one. Oh, I have it written down here. Marino Tenaglia. I didn't see it. At Mines and Marino. Anyway, the Ducks came out, and they've challenged the Hooligans, because they fight them all over the country, to a Ducks, ladders, and chairs match. Can you imagine how upset you would have been if you'd have missed that? I've been wanting to see the Ducks for ages. I don't know if you've seen the clips, but they do like suplexes onto the Ducks. Now, admittedly, they're just rubber ducks, but it's kind of funny. I definitely want to see something like that.
It's like they're like Mick Foley has the bag of pins.
Correct. It's a much less violent version of that, but I think that would be pretty funny to watch.
Yeah.
Now, Marino Tenaglia actually tweeted, "Maybe we had too much fun at VA Wrestling last night. Coming up short to At the Hooligans. But we'll be back, taking good times and good vibes to the winner's circle." Now, I actually responded to that tweet. I put there will not be one fan who gives a jot about the result if you wrestle like that. If you wrestle with that level of excitement every time out. Back-to-back great matches at Nova Pro. And I really like that team. I think they're good. I don't care if they lose every match. They can lose more matches than Kurt Hawkins as far as I care. If they wrestle with that style, that's really fun to watch. I didn't get much down for that one at all. All right, match 11. You're probably going to watch this one tomorrow because I know you want to see Kevin Q because he was one of the new people. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
I'm not sure they can even beat Kurt Hawkins.
That's a lot.
That's like
218 now. It can't happen. No, there's no chance. Kevin Q and Dominic Garrini. Garrini lost in a 6-way match to Bobby Shields at Harlem Nights, and it was Kevin Q's debut. What have I got here? Dominic Garrini on Twitter. This is from before the actual Nova Pro event. The best opponents are usually friends. Tomorrow, at Kevin Q and I test that theory at VA Wrestling with the @sup_graps Bone Storm title on the line. And I couldn't tell at the time what it was. I saw he had his belt, but I had no idea what it was, so I'm glad that figured that out. And Kevin Q actually posted on the same thing. Leave me with my hand in the air or on a stretcher. So he's going for it. He either wants to be the winner or he's going to be carried out on a stretcher. So I kind of like the little bit of banter between them. They're obviously good friends and they know each other. Now, before the match even started, somebody shouted out, "Let's see some blood." And I think it was Kevin Koo was like, "We haven't even started yet," but you could tell there was high hopes for this match. The loudest power slam I have ever heard on Kevin Koo. Garrini just slammed him, and the reverberations were crazy. But there was another slam and a kick out at 2. It looked like Garrini had the triangle locked in, and the ref had to stop the match to retain the belt. Garrini raised Kevin's hand, obviously it was his friend, and he also left the ring so he could actually get the praise. So similar to the match we talked about earlier, classy gesture, and the crowd did the same thing. Please come back. Kevin Koo was really good, but like I say, I'm going to keep this one fairly short for us. Okay, match 12, Carnies versus the main attraction. Now, the main attraction, if you remember, is Bo Crockett and
Jake Hollister.
Now, Jake Hollister actually had something, I think it was on his arm, so it looked like he was injured, and they brought in one of the names I mentioned earlier, the varsity athlete. That's the guy who Marko Stunt went to Sheets with, I guess. So Jake didn't actually wrestle. He was on the side of the ring for this one. Carnies lost to the Hooligans in a 3-way tag at American Slang, and the main attraction lost in a 4-way tag, which PME was in a second ago I just talked about, at Harlem Nights, which the Ducks won. Now, I actually was getting food for this one, because we're talking 3.5 hours at this point, I think. I was like, I'm hungry, I'm getting some food. Now, I don't know if you know this, Starbucks is really terrible for names. They'll ask you what's your name, and then they write your name on a cup, and then they give you the cup. But they have a reputation for totally getting your names wrong. So anyway, I ordered my food. It's like, what's your name? Graham. And then I'm watching the match, and then they're calling there. They're like, Ryan. So I'm just ignoring them, because I know there's 3 other people who are waiting for food. And then finally someone like tapped me on the shoulder, and I turned around, and I could see it was my food there. And she's like, what's your name? I was like, Graham. And she's like, I was like, you just gave me the food. So yeah, they made a total mess of that. I sat in the far back corner, and I actually watched it from as the camera looks, the very left-hand side. Well, you know where the food place is anyway, so you can get the. So I watched a slightly different thing. I came back towards the end, and I did see Hollister pull the ref out of the ring. He was about to administer a 3 count, 1, 2. Hollister grabs his leg, pulls him out, and then just turns around like, "Hey, I didn't do anything." So he interfered in that match, so they should have won. He played dumb. While he distracts the ref, there is a low blow by Bo Crockett. And then also somebody called the Endgame came in, and he actually took part. I think he did a power slam. So they already had 3 people as it was anyway with Hollister, and then he brought in this guy, the Endgame. So it was like a 4-on-2 match. So yeah, they totally cheated on this one. The person actually is called Paul Jordynne, and he's at Spitz_Venom. I actually found that out from Squared Circle podcast. I had no idea who Endgame was, so I sent him a quick DM. I said, "Hey, can you tell me who this is?" So I know it's Paul Jordynne now. His tweet on Twitter was, "Smash people and look pretty with the boys. Good times." Bo got the pin, 1, 2, 3, but like I said, essentially it was really a 4-on-2 rather than a 2-on-2.
Oh yeah, you were talking about Bo giving somebody a low blow.
Mhm.
I remember at lunch, somebody had the Air Jordan sign on, and then I can just picture Shinsuke Nakamura on the bottom giving Jordan a low blow.
Okay, I'm so glad that story went where it did. I thought you were about to say at your school somebody gave somebody a low blow.
No.
Alright, the varsity athlete at Varsity TK. The main attraction made a smart choice at VA Wrestling as they drafted me first overall. Plus myself and its bow time picked up the W. Alright, last match. Sage Phillips versus John Gresham. Now, I was actually really excited for this one. I said, I don't care who wins this one. I just want to watch a great match. The crowd's going to be the winners for this one, and it's just going to be a great technical match. Sage lost to Alexander James, as we talked about earlier, and Jonathan Gresham actually beat Timothy Hatcher, both at that last meeting that we went to. Now, I also put on this one, I just scrolled way too far, but I'm not editing this back. Listen to the Gold Belt podcast if you get the Big Gold Belt podcast. They just interviewed Sage about this. So if you haven't seen Powerbomb TV, go check out their podcast first. They actually talk about the last meeting, and they talk also about how this meeting's going to go. That would be definitely something I'd recommend listening to. All right, bell rings. There's a big stare off. They just stared at each other for like 15 seconds, and then the crowd actually started chanting both of them. And that actually fitted in with what I thought. I didn't really mind. I like Sage Phillips. I like Jonathan Gresham. They're both faces, both very popular in Nova Pro. And it was a tough one. Sage had Gresham in head scissors twice, and Jonathan Gresham got out of it both times, but in different ways. I really like their technicians. They know how to reverse moves, and I thought they were really good with that. There was a sequence when they were testing how strong they were, when they were taking bumps, so they sort of ran into each other, they would bounce off the ropes, bounce back, knock the other one back, and then they just kept doing that over and over again. Lots of times. You remember you said Sage hit Arik like 100 times? This felt like this was like 20 to 50 times. It was just continual. It looked really good.
Oh yeah, random thought, Sage Phillips, he trained with the same person as Ruby Riott, right?
He did talk about in the big gold belt. He wasn't in the same class, so I can't answer that question now. He meant they asked him on that, like, who did you train with or who was in your class? He didn't say Ruby Riott, so I think he would have remembered if it was Ruby Riott. So it must just have been a different year group. Heidi Lovelace. He didn't say Heidi Lovelace either, so I know it wasn't that. Jonathan Gresham did target Sage Phillips' legs, shins. He was working for the weakness because he had an ACL injury, which I didn't know about. He was out for a fair while apparently, according to that interview. Sage gets Suplex City going because he had 4 in a row. That looked pretty impressive as well. Sage technically tapped out in this match. Yeah, their legs were locked together, and the ref was like, "Okay, I'm going to break you," and he couldn't get the legs separated, and Sage is there tapping, and then the ref broke their legs up, and then Jonathan Gresham was like, "He taps." He's like, "No." It's like, I was trying to break you up at that point. So that was kind of a bit of controversy.
Like Roman did to Samoa Joe.
That I don't know. I don't remember that one. In the end, they exchanged forearms. Sage knocked Gresham down, but he flipped straight up. There was an Insiguri, and there was a drop kick to Sage. Suicide dive through the ropes. There's a lot of stuff going on in this match. Gresham goes to the top, but Sage gets his knees up on a 540. And it looked like Jonathan Gresham actually had the submission move on. And I thought he'd won, but actually Sage reversed it, and Jonathan Gresham actually tapped out. So Sage Phillips actually took the win on this, and that was the last match. So you can watch those ones later. I wanted to cut through those ones because they weren't on the Powerbomb TV. It was sort of like the after card for this. And I know you haven't had a chance to see it, but we want to get this out. Now, yesterday, I noticed online there's something called the PWI Top 500. I wish I could remember what PWM stands for. It's probably Pro Wrestling. I don't even know what the I stands for. Every year they do a list of the top 500 wrestlers. The top one this year was actually, why do I always forget his name? Kenny Omega. So they have people. It's not just WWE. Most years the WWE is the top person. In fact, the last 2 years, I think it said it's the only time in the last 29 years it's not been a WWE person. Okada, and they also had Kenny Omega. All right, since we've been going to Nova Pro, I was curious, how many people who've been to Nova Pro this year are actually appeared on this list? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 definites, and then 1 possible one. The possible one, actually, I'm not sure. I think we actually saw it at AIW, and I know you have a wonderful brain. All right, let's see then, Mason. How many of the 10 people who are on the PWI Top 500 have appeared at Nova Pro since we've been watching them? PCO, correct. 397.
Not too bad.
Nope. And I'm sure it could be even higher next year. And I'm just checking them off as you say them so I don't forget. Arik Royal is not on that list. It is kind of tough.
Jordynne Grace.
Now, I perhaps should have said this, and I don't know if this is something that PWI does. There was no women on that list at all, which doesn't make any sense to me at all. So I'm assuming it's just men's wrestling. But yes, I would have agreed that would have possibly been a good pick. So you look at like Charlotte Flair or something, she's not even on that list. So I'm assuming it's just guys. So that's me not telling you that. Gunnar Miller, not on the list.
Oh, Nick Gage.
Nick Gage is on that list, 388, so he's just a little bit better than PCO, according to this list anyway. Tim Donst is not on that list. No, I was kind of surprised, because he is a big star of the Indies. I thought he would have been on as well. Okay. You're going to be disappointed if you miss some of these people, though. Ugly Ducklings are not on. There's no tag teams. It's all individual wrestlers. This is a fun quiz, right?
No, it's impossible.
What if I told you one of the wrestlers is actually number 52 on that list?
What?
That's pretty high, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Jonathan Gresham.
Jonathan Gresham's not on that list either. That surprised me because I thought he had a title in Ring of Honor as well. Remember that one we watched and he came out? So yeah, no, he's not on either.
Oh, this is hard now.
It is,
I'm
exactly.
On like every single good.
Sometimes think about people who don't always appear every time, but they come in for like a few matches. So people like PCO's not always there, right? But he's been recently. Nick Gage, same thing.
Benjamin Banks.
Benjamin Banks is not in the top 500, but when I tweet him later, he will be very happy that you think he's in that top 500. All right, you giving up?
Yeah.
All right, number 52. You're going to be disappointed you didn't get this one because you even held his championship belt that weighed 10 pounds. Nick Aldis is in at number 52. 229 is Homicide. 247, David Starr. David Starr's a big wrestler. Yep, he said it's his highest rating since he's been a wrestler. His first year, I don't know what his ranking was. Every year his ranking has gone down, except for this year, because I saw him tweet about that. Technically, this next one didn't appear. He was supposed to appear, and then he backed out. Remember, Eddie Kingston was supposed to appear at the Commonwealth Cup? He was 279, so he didn't actually make it. DJZ, number 294. I think he was our second Nova Pro event we went to, so he only appeared once. 337, I thought you might get this one. Ricky Shane Page.
Oh.
You said he's a big name, right? And we liked him. One, I have to admit, I totally forgot about, and mainly because he's been injured for the last 6 months. 343, Sanjay Dutt.
Oh.
He's obviously a big star. Remember the first time we went, we were like, he's in Impact Wrestling. We were so excited by that because we had no idea that anybody that famous was going to be there. 388 you got was Nick Gage. 397 was PCO. Now, this one I think actually was AIW. Tom Lawler.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think he has actually been at Nova Pro. He's kind of like the Dominic Garrini. They're sort of both mixed martial art fighters, but I think I actually got that one wrong. I think he's actually AIW.
Oh, wait. Okay, that's
Unless
Matt
he
Riddle.
fought... Yeah, no, it's not Matt
Is
Riddle.
Matt Riddle on that?
Matt Riddle was on that list.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a lot higher than that, though. And the last one, 436. Somebody whose autograph you have from 2 different wrestling meets.
Bobby Shields.
Bobby Shields is on that list
I'm
as well.
surprised.
I thought that was pretty
I
cool.
thought Logan would be ahead of
They
Bobby.
described him as a veteran wrestler, and they mentioned he actually had some title as well in the previous year, but I didn't write that part down. So that's pretty cool. Out of those lists, obviously the top. Obviously, you look at the WWE card. Obviously, they're going to be stacked to the top. New Japan Pro Wrestling, a lot of people. Ring of Honor, a lot of people.
That's cool.
But I
Like,
thought
that's
that was
somebody that's 52.
absolutely. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, Nova Pro has some really good people there,
Is
and it'd be
AJ
interesting.
Styles number 2?
I'm trying to remember. I think AJ Styles was number 2 on that list. I think that was right.
I
'cause
really want to know when Roman Reigns is.
Roman Reigns was further down because he hadn't won as many titles. Brock Lesnar was 5th. I remember that because he's obviously had that title for over a year as well. And I think Okada was top 5 as well because he held the New Japan title for a long time as well.
Yeah.
Just to give you some other people on that list as well. All right, so I told you Nick Aldis was 52, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about some people from NXT then? What about Johnny Gargano?
Yeah.
What do you think he's going to be?
My 1.
He's not number 1. I just told you it's Kenny
know.
Omega. He's obviously not going to be number 1.
He should be.
So where are you putting Gargano?
Like 20.
Not too bad. 34.
Oh.
The top person actually from NXT was 20. I think Adam Cole was 20 if I remember. Okay. All right. What about Tommaso Ciampa then?
40?
I would have put him ahead of Nick Aldis probably as well. But 27. I was shocked by that. So I do wonder about how accurate some of these rankings are. I know it's based on the whole year, and Ciampa was probably injured for part of that year as well.
Yeah.
But I was surprised by that. But yeah, they actually had their top NXT person as Adam Cole. But I thought that was interesting to finish off with.
It should be Johnny.
I'm
wonder,
thinking
is
possibly
Al-
next year it might be.
Aleister Black.
Aleister Black, I don't even remember if he was. He must have been on the list. Perhaps I missed. There were some people who I looked for on the list afterwards, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even see them. And then I went back to look for them, and I was like, oh, where are they? And I couldn't even find them. So it was kind of weird, some of those lists. I'll show you that list later. It's kind of interesting. I actually subscribed to the magazine for 6 months because you can't find that list online. You have to buy the magazine. Or if you can, I can find it. So I was like, I don't care. We'll buy the magazine for 6 months. So I'll let you have a look through that later. All right, Mason, we're at now 15. I'm going to insert the clip from your predictions at the start, and if you've had to wait for the end to find out what actually happened, I think the final result was, I believe Jackson had 9 out of 12, because there was one tie, which obviously you can't predict, right? And you had...
Like 6.
No, you wish you had 6 out of 12. 5 out of 12. I asked Matt, I said, one person got 9 out of 12, one got 5 out of 12. Who do you think it is? And he's like, I would like to say it, but I'm sure Mason got 9 out of 12. And I was like, all right, you're going to have to wait to see. That takes the score to, in our Are You Smarter Than a 4-Year-Old challenge, Jackson 4, Mason 1.
Jackson had to redo it, and he got 4 out of 1.
He didn't have to. I lost his recording, so I asked him to redo it, and then we found his recording. So his original predictions were 9 out of 12, and there's also one tie as well. So it's Jackson 4.5, Mason 1.5. So you got some work to do these next few weeks, buddy, to catch up with your brother. We're not, I guess, but there was one draw in there. All right, I think that should finish it up. The next Nova Pro event is the Nova Project 4. Which is going to be, I think it's September 23rd, so I'm looking on here. It looks like it's 3 weeks' time, Mason, so we don't actually have that long to wait. Anything else you want to add in?
No.
Alright, I think that'll do it for us. I'm not even sure I'm going to put the music in for this one. And then I don't even have to attribute... I could put that one in at the start, and then I think we'll leave it at that. All right.